In this lesson, we will be looking at converting between percents, fractions, and decimals. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. 75% is 75 out of 100. A fraction is a number that represents a part of a whole. 75 over 100, both numbers can be divided by 25, and that would give you 3/4, the fraction in simplest form. A decimal is any real number expressed in a base 10. 75 out of 100 is 75 hundredths, 0.75. We're going to look at different ways of converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. First thing we're going to do is look at a fraction and change it to a decimal. The easiest way is to simply look at the fraction and write an equivalent fraction until you can convert the denominator to 100. Then put that in decimal form, because decimals can be out of 100. For example, 1/4. If I multiply both numbers by 5, I would get 5/20. And then if I multiply them again, I would get 25/100. Notice there is a typo on the screen. It should not be a 25 as the denominator. It should be 20. 25/100 is 0.25. Now, if your fraction is not 1, that can be easily changed to 100. You're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. Use a calculator to do this. Simply put the numerator divided by the denominator. So 1 divided by 4 the calculator would tell you 0.25. It's the same way we find your grades. We take the number correct divided by the total number possible. Fractions to percents. Once you have a decimal, it's easy to change that to a percent. Convert the fraction you have to a denominator of 100 or divide numerator by denominator. And the numerator is simply your percent. So 1/4 we said was 25/100, 25%. 3/5, I can take both numbers times 20. That would give me 60/100, 60/100, 60%. As long as your fraction is out of 100, the numerator is your percent. Decimals to fractions. Write the decimal over 10, 100, or 1,000, or 10,000, depending on its final place value. If the decimal's last place value is tenths, you would write it over 10. If the decimal's last place value is hundredths, you would write it over 100. Once you have it written down, then you can simplify by dividing. 80 hundredths is 80 over 100. Both numbers are divisible by 10. This gives me 8/10. 0.875 or 875 thousandths is 875 over 1,000. Both numbers are divided by 125, which gives you 7/8. Now, when we're changing a decimal to percent, move the decimal point 2 places to the right and write your percent sign. For example, 87 hundredths, the decimal place is shifted 2 places to the left. We're actually multiplying by 100 when we do that, is 87%. 93/42, that's 9,342 10,000ths. Multiply that number by 100, which is shifting my decimal place 2 places to the right. That gives me 93 and 42 hundredths. So when I'm writing my percent, it's 93.42%. Percent to fractions. Put your percent number over 100 and simplify. 60%, 60 over 100. Then divide by 10 to get 6/10. Divide by 2 to get 3/5. 63% is 63 over 100. Neither number is divisible by the same factor, so that is simplest form. 40% is 40 over 100. Divide both numbers by 10 would give me 4/10. Divide both numbers by 2 and I would get 2/5 for simplest form. Now when I'm changing a percent to a decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the left. There's your decimal. Simply divide by 100. 87 divided by 100 moves the decimal 2 places to the left. We're back at 0.87. 93 and 42/100ths, divide by 100. You're moving your decimal point 2 places to the left, and we are back at 0.9342.